sales department the following month, so he did his best to retain his optimism. It took 6 months. I figured we have 24 hours in a day, and we ideally spend 8 hours sleeping. A workday is 8 hours plus a 30-minute lunch break and two 15-minute breaks, so 9 total. How do we spend the rest of it? An hour getting ready for work and more to commute. About another hour is spent eating dinner, whether that's cooking or going out. So add 8 hours sleeping, 9 hours working, 1 hour getting ready, and 1 hour eating dinner. We're only left with 5 hours in our day, or less if there's a long commute. I surmise then, as humans that need to work to live, we better as hell enjoy how we spend a majority of our time. I had a few interviews, but all ended up being for similar jobs disguised as something more intriguing. Travelco was my first experience working in an office, and I had only been with them 8 months. All my previous experience was customer service, restaurants, and the beauty industry. And 2010 had finally begun. The economy was getting better, but more and more companies were offshoring their customer service positions. I accepted that I would be in this current position longer than I wanted, but I continued searching. Once Jason eventually accepted that I would be spending more evenings job hunting, he was more supportive. It was a good thing because he was my largest source of happiness at that time. Chapter 6, Warning Signs. Through the emotionally difficult work experiences, Jason did not show empathy for the customer I was trying to help or for the stress I was enduring at my job. When I told him about the situation with the customer stuck with a canceled flight and no reasonable alternatives, he said, "That sucks, we'll just let the customer know." He did not seem to understand the stress the customer was in. Thankfully, since then, the airlines changed their policies, so they put people on new flights without charges when they cancel them, but that was not the case at the time. Jason also couldn't understand why I was still upset when I came home that night. A healthy person would be able to understand that, and if they couldn't, they would listen to their partner until they understood. Healthy people have empathy, and healthy relationships have partners who empathize with one another. The fact that Jason could not understand my emotions or be there for me shows me that he did not have empathy, which was also a warning sign. Jason frequently told me that I didn't have a sense of humor because I did not think his sexist and racist remarks were funny. On the power and control wheel, this is listed under emotional abuse. The relevant parts here say, putting her down, making her feel bad about herself. This is the first example that I remember that he did that to me, although it's highly likely there were other times. Jason was annoyed that I spent time searching for jobs instead of spending time watching TV with him, even though I was sitting there with him. He did not support me in working to find a way to lessen my stress and tried to make me feel guilty for not spending quality time with him. Making her feel guilty is also listed on the power and control wheel under emotional abuse. A supportive, healthy partner understands their partner's needs and gives them the emotional space and support to do what they need to do. They also often offer help. Jason did none of this. He seemed to only care about his need for me to be relaxing with him. Emotional abuse is not just a warning sign of abuse, but it is actual abuse. This is often how abusers begin. Emotional abuse brings down the partner's sense of confidence, which leads to their insecurity. When a person feels insecure and dependent upon their partner, they often become reliant on their partner for emotional security and search for it in the good times when they are getting along. This often leads to the abused partner becoming more attached to their abuser and consequently not even think about leaving them. This is where the codependency shown in the beginning of the story started turning into dependency. I ended the chapter with, "He was my largest source of happiness at that time." In all honesty, I really felt as though he was. My job was stressful, but after work I got to come home to him to relax with him on most evenings. I was not only becoming dependent on him, but I was also becoming more and more reliant and dependent on him for my own happiness. Thank you for listening to this episode of Warning Signs. The music in this episode is Skipping Stones by Ian Post. For more about me and my group therapy and workshops, please see my website at www.katemageau.com. The link is in the show notes, and it is spelled www.katemageau.com. And if you can't wait to hear what happens next, you can buy my books on my website. Thank you so much for your support. You can also support me by downloading episodes, as each download gives me a tiny commission. Liking and subscribing also help. Thank you. See you next week.